Red button means we're live, a casual take with your boy Stephen Pepper, here to give a take off my chest. Sorry for the few day break. I know I promised daily uploads. Been trying to transition to my new job here, but the grind continues. So, in today's episode of Why Poverty Franchises Stay Poverty, the Cleveland Browns have put out their second unofficial depth chart of the summer, and oh boy, they still have Shedeur Sanders, even after his impressive NFL debut, where he threw for 2 touchdowns and drew over 2 million eyeballs on television. They still have him at quarterback 4. What the hell are the Browns doing? Okay, this is why I always say the Browns will forever be the clowns, because they never have an idea of what to do with the quarterback position, the most important position in the history of this sport. It drives the most wins. When you think of the Browns, especially in my lifetime, you think losing. And that's because they can't figure out the winning position in quarterback. Now, I'm not up here saying that Shedeur should leap Joe Flacco as quarterback number 1, because Joe has proven that he can take the Browns to the postseason. And Shedeur, even though I really like him, he's not ready for that week 1. I think that would be awful for Shedeur's development if they throw him week 1 as a starter, especially when the Browns' schedule is front-loaded. And I'll give them this. Even though I do not like little Dylan Gabriel at all, I do understand that the Browns took him 2 rounds before Shedeur and has yet to play in the preseason. So, you never know what he looks like. But Kenny Pickett, still above Shedeur after Friday, that is malpractice. Okay? Malpractice. I don't understand why they're still attached to Kenny Pickett. Like, I don't care how much experience Kenny Pickett has. We know who the guy is. A career backup at best. And when you're the Browns, and it's clear as day that the Deshaun Watson thing, especially now that he has an Achilles injury he's trying to recover from, is cooked. You desperately need a new face at the quarterback position. So you should be trying everything into building up that next guy. And after Friday, Shedeur proved, I'm the most interesting guy on that roster for that position and should be getting more reps, not having it taken away from Kenny Pickett. Like, come on. Like, not taken away by Kenny Pickett. What are we doing? And he's hurt. So you know who he is, and he's hurt. He's not even playing on Saturday. He's the easiest quarterback to fizzle down the lineup. What are we doing? Now, I'm not acting like Shedeur, like the Browns are sitting on the next Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes. No, because Shedeur would have won the first round if he had those traits. But I thought he proved 2 things on his Friday debut, albeit it was the first game of the preseason and just 1 game, is that he's a star. Okay, drew 2 million people on TV. Everyone in the crowd was wearing Browns number 12. The guy's a star, and you need a star at quarterback. And 2, with the backup offensive line for a stretch against the Panthers starters, he looked cool, calm, collective, made plays, touchdowns. Boom. You got to rep up that guy, man. You just got to see what you have in him. He's the most interesting quarterback on the roster. But then I remember, this is the Browns we're talking about. 40 starting quarterbacks since they came back to Cleveland in 99. You can't get worse than that. They thought Manziel was a star. They gave away Baker Mayfield, their first quarterback to win a playoff game in a billion years, for a known essayer and someone who's been out the league for a year beforehand. Let me know how that's been working out for the Browns. And now you have Shedeur, who has the highest upside of any quarterback on this team. He isn't a career backup. He isn't 40, and he isn't like 5'8". Okay, Shedeur has the highest upside on the Browns roster. And the fact that he's still quarterback 4, what are we doing? But it goes back to what I said last week. I'm starting to really believe that people who are running the Browns just don't like Shedeur, right? That this whole draft pick of Shedeur in the first place was, oh, well, he's falling down to round 5. Might as well take him. But like I said last week, they're not setting him up for success. Listen, I get the comments. He is a 5th-round quarterback, but he's the most interesting guy on their roster. But it seems like he's their lowest priority. Like, he's on the bottom of the totem pole when he is showing how he's playing well in camp and now in preseason. I have the highest upside to be a star on this team, and you're not giving me that success. And it goes back to the owner and Jimmy Haslam saying that Shedeur wasn't his pick. Yeah, shout out to the owner for saying that I'm not his pick. That's cool. I don't know what Andrew Berry, how he really feels about Shedeur, but I know Kevin Stefanski is just never excited talking about Shedeur, and that's the head coach. So I'm just getting vibes out of the locker room that this is political. They just don't like Shedeur that much. They see him as like a 5th-round quarterback, and maybe you might be saying, well, if his last name wasn't Sanders, you would have been that hype. Yeah, that's true. But I also know that he showed flashes on Friday that he could be the next star on this team, or has the most likelihood of being a star compared to Flacco, Gabriel, and Pickett, and should be treated like so. Now, again, I'm not saying he should be quarterback one, week one over Joe Flacco. And I also understand, even though I don't like him and always thought Shedeur was better in college, that Dylan Gabriel was taken 2 rounds ahead and is still a rookie. But Kenny Pickett's still taking reps from Shedeur Sanders. Kenny Pickett still being quarterback 2 when he's a backup and you need a star is insane. That is malpractice to me. What are the Browns doing? But this is why poverty franchises stay poverty. They never have a clue, don't they? But let me know what you guys think. I appreciate everyone for tuning into this episode of A Casual Take. Follow my social media. Stay updated on all things related to the show. Until next time, see you.